Hi, Michael, and everyone else who's going to join, because we're going to talk about a peaceful life and actually why a deeply peaceful life matters. And when we talked about what we're going to do, it was actually your suggestion. So just share with us to begin with, like, how did you get inspired? Wow, we
Okay.
can see you. You're sharing screens somehow. This is funny.
Yes, I'm trying to. Whoops. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, we're back. Okay. So good to see you, and welcome to our visitors. And okay, so Lisa, can you repeat that because the screen was jumping all over the place.
Of course. I said you came up with the topic for today. It was your inspiration, your idea, and I deeply resonate. And I wanted to just start the conversation by asking you, how did you come up with the idea? Is it something that's happening for you right now, something you're deeply connected with, creating a peaceful life and why that matters? Like why peaceful?
Thank you for that. Well, I guess, I've had some times in my life in recent years where things were pretty tumultuous and there was things that I was working through. And so finding that balance and keeping that balance has become a real priority in my life, and adding in things that lend itself to that in my daily routines. And um,
Hmm.
that's just become a real priority for me is touching into that piece, channeling it, and then I feel like when you do that, then you can share that with others, and it goes out into the world. And so,
So beautiful. And then I have to ask you, when you say channeling peace, I feel like that sounds like a skill. So if we can, everybody that's listening now, if we can get your attention, because it seems like this is a skill, and actually it is to me something I practice. I practice peace. Um, Tell us about channeling peace and what that means for you and what you do. And yeah,
so to channel peace for me, it's very intentional. And so I just actually wrote a post about the three things that are really important to me to bringing peace into my daily life, and that's intention and routines, and just having things every day that allow yourself to tap into that, whether you want to call them peaceful channels or just really grounding yourself in that. And I would say the first thing for me would be gratitude, and starting the day with a kind of a reflection of what am I grateful for, and who are the people in my life, and the things and experiences that really resonate deeply with bringing that peace on a daily basis. And so um, every day, I start with that practice. And then I try and, just throughout the day, I actually have little, I call them touchstones around my home. And
yeah.
and they're like literally little stones that either have symbolic meaning from where, I collected them, and I just sort of, at random times pick them up and maybe say a thought or a blessing, um,
Oh, that
and
is
that
a
sort of
beautiful idea.
thank you. And that really grounds me because I have one for my mom that I treasure, and that's in a place where, I might see it several times a day, and
Mhm.
that's very connecting for me. It's very grounding. And I just feel like I sort of put things around in my daily life that bring that balance right back.
Yeah, wow, that is beautiful, and that's already something we can all take away from today. Is like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a stone. It could
Mhm.
be anything. And in some ways, probably we do that without knowing. Like we keep that little shell that we found in the ocean and we put it in the
Yes.
bathroom or anything like that, right? But
Yep.
you're very intentional. That's so beautiful and inspiring to think about. And for me, um, when I thought and talked with you shortly before here, I was like, we want to talk about hi, Syra, hi. We want to talk about
Hello,
why
Syra.
why peace matters. Because, we can live life in any different way. There's so many ways to live life. And the decision to live a peaceful life and the decision to come back to peace at all times, the decision to make decisions that will lead to peace and that come from peace and that come from love is a very different life. For me, and that goes very deep now straight away, but it's like it's a question of karma and it's a question of what comes after and it's a question of my future. Because what I'm anticipating with a peaceful life is not just a connected life, what you said, which is so valuable. So this is one part of it, to be connected now with myself, with nature, with others,
Hmm.
to have a full and deep experience of life. And depth comes where peace is, because peace is always a door, it's a pathway, right? And then the other thing is really to think about my future and be like, what I say today has an echo tomorrow. What I do
Absolutely.
today has an echo tomorrow. And then I can think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I can think about 40 years from now. I can think about my children. I can think about their children. It goes as far as that. And I believe that leaving a legacy behind can simply be a legacy of peace. That's a piece of art for me, to leave a life that has been peaceful and powerful at the same time.
That is so beautiful. Yes, indeed. And I think, it seems like such a simple thing, and yet it is so powerful. And it takes such intention to create and sustain what you're talking about. And so
Mm,
what is a practice that you do, Lisa, to bring that daily peace into your life?
mm. So I start my morning and my evening actually. So right before I um get out of bed, right after I wake up, and right before I go to sleep, when my subconscious starts to open up, I start to listen to Louise Hay and her affirmations. And she has topics on, it can be peace, it can be choosing yourself, self love, it can be reducing anxiety, it can be anything. So I start to put that on. I fall asleep very fast at this point. It's so beautiful. So that's how I start. And she is a manifester of peace. Every
Yes.
word she uses, she really goes through the morning meditation she does is often about, look around in your room and bless everything you have. Bless the electricity, bless the
Mhm.
fridge, bless the warm water. And then she says, not even kings and queens back in time had the possibility to the life you have today, where you have warm water and you can take a shower and cook whenever you want. And she brings
Yes.
up these things that totally blow my mind and just automatically create a deep gratitude. And then I go to my mirror, I go in the shower, and I have my post-its there. And then I
Mhm.
say that. So I say I'm always protected and guided by the universe and God. Jesus
Beautiful.
loves me. Like, I am Hollywood, I'm an actress. So, right? Like, all of these things, money loves me and I love money. Money is a frequency, money is love. I am safe and secure right now. My body is holy, my body is sacred, all these things. So, I don't expect the day to come to me. I don't expect peace to be there, which changed everything for me. But I know and understand that peace is a creation. And at the end of the day, when I look at my day and I journal and I understand how deep have I been diving today into peace and what is possible? And if we
Yeah.
think about what is possible when it comes to peace, a lot is possible. And there's a I have a coach and he said, with the limitations of our minds, your mind right now, mine, we can imagine great things, but think beyond the limitation of your mind, that there's something beyond your wildest dreams. So if you're targeting a peaceful life, then there's a peaceful life beyond your wildest dreams, something you don't even know yet. And I always want to touch that. So something beyond my awareness right now that I can even, see happening. Um, if that answers your question, and then we can go deeper into little practices I do during the day. But this is how I start, how I end my day. And
Yeah.
recently, I have also worked with um, getting into intensity when I say these affirmations and do this mirror work in the mirror. So I saw a child doing it, Liz, and this child was like literally screaming in the mirror, "I am so beautiful!" And I was like, honestly, I want to try that because somehow I was like, yeah, that maybe that's missing. And when I started doing that, so full on outbursts, like, I am so protected. I'm so guided. Like, there was no doubt in me left. I was like, oh, I believe that. So,
Yes.
to everyone listening now,
Yeah.
if you have the wish and the desire to create a peaceful life, then it's not something that has to be there in the morning when you wake up. I've many mornings where it's already there. I
Mhm.
also have morning words where I don't feel it and
Yeah.
I create it. So you have always the possibility to create that.
So powerful. I love just what so much of what you said resonates. And I'm going to go back to what you said about expectations because
Yes.
um, that's a theme that I've processed and thought about a lot over the years. And I made this sign when I was a teenager, and it said, "When you cease expecting, you have all things." And I was talking about this with John Ronaldo. He invited me to a pod. Oh, that almost went out. To a pod. Did that fade there for you?
No.
Oh, okay. The light went down, and I don't know. Maybe it was honoring John and our podcast. That, but I was like, whoa. Um, so one of the things we talked about was expectations and I guess so back to I made this quote that said, "When you cease expecting, you have all things." And I remember my sister-in-law made this beautiful poster of that, and I tucked it away for years. And then later in my life, in recent years, I basically had a counselor for several years when I was, after my father passed and when my mom was working her way to the end of her life's journey. And one of the most beautiful things this lovely, lovely person said to me was in her journey, one of the things that brought peace in challenged relationships was when she stopped expecting anything, absolutely anything from
Wow.
it. And so that was something that really resonated deeply, and I took that to heart because I think so much of our discomfort and frustration comes from that. We just sort of naturally as humans expect things from the people we love and care about. And
Mm.
so when you said that about expectations, I think that's something that has really helped me in my journey as far as uh, channeling that peace and getting back to a peaceful place is, you know,
Mm.
often stepping back and wondering if your ego's getting too involved or if your expectations are overboard, and just being very mindful of that and how that plays how that energy comes out in your daily life.
Yeah. Byron Katie calls this loving what is, because she
Ah,
says all the suffering is created with our thinking. If we
yes.
resist what is, I was in the gym today, it was really, really full, and I got
Okay.
my period, and I was like, "Oh, it's exactly not what I need," and all these people and stressful, and I saw myself, observed myself talking myself into some kind of rage and resistance, and then I realized, well, I can keep doing that, and it creates a lot of anger inside me and frustration about what is, but I can also just look around, realize what is. It's in itself completely neutral. And if I don't create a story around it, it also doesn't really affect me.
Yes.
So I dropped the story. I looked at all the people, like there's a lot of people moving really fast, but that's all I observe. The stress and the anger is things I created with my story. So I dropped the story. I was like, okay, now I can just love what is. I can be here. And actually also found that it was a way to distract myself from actually being with myself, you know?
Yes.
To be like,
Yes.
to look outside and be like, oh, why are they here? What are they doing? I was like, Lisa, come back, because it's really nice here and I can be here anytime. It can be loud, it can be quiet, I can always be here. Um, so I love Byron Katie there, and she helps me a lot throughout the day. So that would be a way how I come back to peace, remembering Byron Katie, loving what is. Don't resist what is, no matter what it is, even if it's a bill coming in, if it's um, an email that you wouldn't have expected to say that way with that wording, loving what is, and then coming back to, for me, that really means slowing down. Every
Mhm.
time I slow down, I come back to the thought and the truth that I am the creator. So then when I receive this email that has a specific wording, I say this wording is neutral. I expected something else, but I can love this what is if I drop the story about what it potentially means, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then I can go and I can create an email as an answer that actually has the wording that I want to have. And I can
Yes.
see what the echo of my email, when then another email from the person comes back, does to them.
Yes.
So if I put that much care into my email and so much love and so much peace, and I choose my wording wisely, what does that do? And that already has an effect. And what I see, I think a lot about emails because, I have a coaching business and I write a lot of emails also during the day. And I really see that as soon as I do that, I I come from love, I come from peace in all my wording. What happens is it's reflected. Like immediately I see a shift of wording and their wording, and it's just so beautiful. So this is another way for me. Really, even emails and phone calls are an opportunity to come
Mhm.
back to peace, practice peace.
Yes. Lovely. And, several things come to mind. What you were explaining there, I'm wondering, have you read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle?
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
many years.
Okay. And yes, I'm rereading it now. And just that practice of being the observer of the situation
Yeah.
and, talking yourself through it is so powerful. And
Yes.
it was interesting. I shared that with a dear friend the other day, and we were talking about fear of certain things, and I was telling her I encountered a little bat outside our house, and how my fear took over in that situation, and so this friend absolutely was not convinced that there was any way. She said, and she was joking and said, "That's a lie. That can't happen."
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it was interesting to me, her response, because I think that's what we do as humans, anything that seems really threatening, that it's hard for us to accept it into our daily ways of being. And whereas what you're saying, I've practiced that myself, and the power within that, and just the restoration that happens when you are able to just acknowledge what you're experiencing, and then recognize all that it holds, but also that, oh, I don't have to be in the center of this narrative. I can just see it
Mhm.
unfolding from afar, and then that changes the script, and oftentimes in such a healing way.
Yes, it's really healing, and what comes up for me is, um, nurturing a peaceful relationship with yourself. You with yourself and I with myself and all the listeners with their selves, because that's the reality we create. That's the body we live in, the mind body we live in every single day. And if up there it can be as peaceful as possible, then anything we see in the outside can be peaceful. You know, sometimes I do in meditations or a moment of quiet, I do think, okay, how would I react in an or I put myself in the shoes of, and it's just in my imagination, of course, of a very stressful situation, maybe a war situation, or I'm in the jail or whatsoever, because I want to see at this state of awareness that I'm in right now, and the relationship I have with myself, and the work I do with myself, how would that feel? And
Mhm.
what I observe is when I started doing that, it was really frightening for me. And now when I do it, I would say I would accept it. I accept the outside circumstances as they are, and it will not shift what I cultivate inside of myself. So
Yes.
I can still cultivate the highest frequency possible
Mhm.
within outside stressors, no matter what that is. And I can practice joy and love and peace. And I have this quote that I posted the other day. That was, I think, one of the monks came out of 15 years of prison, and Dalai Lama asked him, how was it? How was your experience in the prison? And the monk said, it was really challenging because I fell out of love 3 times with my prison guards.
Wow. Powerful.
So I always want to think about that because, you know, life is so, it's, we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And all that I really have when I narrow it down all the way, and that's what I got from the wisdom of living my life till today, being 34 years old, is I have that relationship to myself within myself. I can navigate everything that's happening here. And that's, um, who was that? Guy, I think German guy or Jewish guy, who was in the Second World War. Also, Frankl, Viktor Frankl,
Yes. Mhm.
practicing that. And we had that a lot in the acting school that my teacher was referring to him, and at the depth that I could grasp it back then. But I think on a way deeper level at this point, I'm able to grasp what he means and also practice that because I don't know what tomorrow brings, and I want to be able to cultivate this kind of relationship.
Yes. Lovely, and I think we're very similar, Lisa, in how we approach our days, and navigate the challenges that present themselves. And one of the things you mentioned before we got on the live was, the idea of, you know, how do you how do you incorporate people in your lives that are not coming from that same place, that,
Mm,
seem to, be comfortable with conflict and seem to actually
yeah,
sometimes thrive
yeah.
within that. And I think sometimes that can be challenging. I know, when you come from this place of, y that you're going to be as peaceful as possible, and be within the changes that come every day into our lives. And then you're always interacting with people who are having very different experiences with that. We see it all the time, somebody who's flying off the handle or super frustrated, or not feeling balanced. And I think it can, it can be difficult because sometimes you either want to share, maybe a different way of being, and yet everybody must find their own way within that realm of how they flow, through the
Yeah,
daily um, infrastructure of their lives. And so, um,
absolutely. Absolutely.
how do you
Yeah.
find yourself dealing with that when you find someone who's struggling and they're frustrated? And um, are you an observer, a participant?
I love this question. I also wanna say to everyone that I'm struggling too. Like, I got my period today, and I just experienced since yesterday evening an immense, wave of anger coming up inside of me that I was navigating. So I just wanna say we're all been there. But I think we're also talking about expressing that and embodying that emotions without filtering and without navigating that and
Yeah.
having that nurturing relationship with self. So when I encounter that, there's different ways how I handle and how I navigate these experiences. First of all, if I come from love, what is also love, and I want to say this for everyone listening right now and later, is a boundary is also love. If I
Hmm.
set a clear boundary, whatever that means for me, that could be right now, I cannot engage with this person at all. That's a clear boundary. And then how can I communicate that? And if I don't have the right words to communicate that, I always suggest start with something positive, start with a compliment, start with a gratitude about who's in front of you. I'm really grateful that I get to spend this time with you here, or that I get to know you in this way, or that you feel comfortable to share this part of you. Um, and then I would continue by expressing my boundary and then embodying that boundary. So if that means I want to leave the space, then that's what I would do. And I think it's really important to remember peace is also protected. Peace
Hmm.
is guarded. Peace is cultivated, and that cultivation that needs a certain spirit and needs a certain air to breathe. So I
Hmm.
think it's very important for me, peace and self worth are connected in this way because I choose peace and I honor myself and I honor the cultivation that I practice. As far as it's possible, I would draw a boundary.
Hmm.
So this is very important to me. And then if I myself, and this is something I check in first always, feel very energized, my batteries are very full, I feel very much compassion, I am absolutely open to share with this person, to witness this person.
Hmm.
And the more relaxed I am and the more full my battery is, the more I feel a yes to, at least for a moment. Maybe I even frame this time frame and say, like, I have 20 minutes to just sit with you and be with you and listen. And
Hmm.
I would love to fully be present as 20 minutes with you and see what's happening. And it can be the same if I see someone, struggling on the street. Maybe someone is very angry, like a homeless person.
Hmm.
And if I see that person, then I wouldn't go to them because I would want to like manage what's happening. But what I would do is take a moment and be present with them, send them good thoughts, bless them. So
Hmm.
taking time for that and seeing and staying to see if the energy shifts,
Hmm.
for example. Or when I see someone having a fight or an argument in the metro or in the train, then the same, send them blessings, um, focus on peace myself so they can maybe sense these energetic frequencies coming to them because that's something I focus on and I do believe we're all connected in a mental network.
Yes.
There's also the possibility again to leave, which I also sometimes do if I don't feel my batteries are full. I now understand, which I didn't when I was younger. I can take my bag, I can walk a little further, and I can just sit down somewhere else.
Yes. So lovely. And I think those insights, Lisa, I just think you're a remarkable young woman. I think
Thank
to
you.
come to that by your age is, golden, truly precious, and I can could just sense your whole being within all of your light and love within your journey, and I just
Oh,
think
that's so beautiful.
well, I
I really
truly
recommend everyone, Liz, to be in your presence because it's also that you are very special because you actually make me feel seen every time. That's why I love to talk to you. And
thank
our
you.
conversation moves very regulated and very slow. And there's so much space. So thank you so much. I really love the compliments and I take them all. I take them all.
Well, and I give them sincerely and with, meaning
Wow.
and experience, and, I'm, many several decades, down the line from where you are, and I've had many years to sort of build, these things that you so readily have already grasped, at such a youthful age. And I think that it, is not only just a tender gift for you that you're giving yourself, but for all the people who come into your circle of light. I think it's so
Absolutely.
regenerative and restorative, and I love that you have already learned how to set those healthy boundaries. And, when you talk about sharing your light and love with the world, and whether that's through words or energy or intention, I so resonate with that because I feel like um, we have these gifts to offer every day, and that's one of the things in my current life, because I retired about a year ago from my
Yeah.
and then also, those of you that know a little about my journey know that my mother passed about ended August of 2024. And so with all of that, it's been sort of a restructuring, redefining my ways of being in the world, my physical ways of being. And I'm so grateful that I've had these constant themes within my life of, um, that sharing of how do we share the best parts of ourselves and all of ourselves in ways that feel meaningful. And so the avenues that shifted, when you have many young minds, middle schoolers in front of you, you don't, that is where you are. You are fully present with them, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a journey into its own. And now I'm so grateful because I have more time to put into my own journey, which at your age is it's so challenging because you're so busy. There's work and life and all the balancing act that takes a
I think
tremendous amount
that my
of effort.
life is honestly, Liz, is very uncommon, my life, because I have my own company and my life is not very busy. I make it
Okay.
busy, then that's my
Okay.
own choice. And I've been having my own company for many years. And that's a choice of the way of living. But I do recognize what you're saying and many other people in my age that live this kind of life. Again, remembering and bringing to awareness for everyone, you have a choice. And for me, that was very important. I saw everyone, I saw my parents hustling so much, working so hard. And all I ever wanted Liz, was not to do the same,
Hmm.
but not from a place of, oh, I don't want to be like them. I was like, I honor them so much. I love them so much. All they did for us, for me, so that I have food, that I'm nourished, that I have a future. I'm so grateful. But from a different awareness of, I just know that I don't have to do that. I have
Yeah.
the freedom in my mind to understand, and I have the proven reality already that I know I can earn my money with ease. I can earn my money from a place of regulation, which is a gift that I have learned through life and through being with people that inspired me and that themselves have been living very peaceful and focused on creating a life, not being the reporter of life, the reporter of the past. And I just saw this and I wanted to show this to everyone. So I have little notes in my whole flat in every single place. And I know I put them in places where I know I look there. So what I did is I walked through my apartment and I checked a bit where my gazes normally go because we all
Mhm.
have those habits. For example, most of us don't look to the right, left corner, upper corner of the room in the last or this one. So exactly, we barely look there. So I wouldn't put a post there, right? But
Yes.
my focus goes right to the opener of the fridge or to the opener of the shelf. So that's where my eye gaze goes. And then I put messages there. And I have
Mhm.
one message here where I look because there's my pens. And when I pick up my pens, I always look at the message: act as if you're the luckiest person in the world,
Beautiful.
luckiest person on the planet. And sometimes when I have a moment before a new coaching call, I sit with this. So I see it and I'm asking myself, what does that mean for me today? What does that mean for me today? This moment. What does that mean? And then sometimes I cut myself some bananas and make a coffee. Sometimes I give myself a neck massage. Sometimes I'm putting on music and head banging to the music, like whatever, right? Just
Yes.
to be like, what does that actually mean for me today with what I have without having to change anything, be someone else, have more money or whatever? No, just being here in the present moment and seeing what possibilities are here to experience for me. And so maybe that's just taking a breath. Be like, "Whoa, I'm breathing. What how magical." It's like, I'm my body's doing this for me. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that exciting? And then I have another one. I'm like, "I'm always coming from love." And I see
Yes.
this posted by my laptop, and I write an email, and maybe I'm a little bit like, "Oh, this person wrote me. I don't like this email." And I'm about to write something, and it's posted stops me, and I'm like, "Am I coming from love here?" And then take a deep breath and I reflect for a moment, what does it mean in this specific situation coming from love?
Mm.
And I realized for me in the last weeks the power of our habitual mind when it's not challenged. So when our habitual mind, which is just active throughout the day, none of you listening, not you, Liz, and not me, Lisa, can do anything against it. That our life is mostly running subconscious. But what
Mhm.
I can do is I can put myself post-its and reminders that I cannot overlook. And it can also be beautiful flowers that smell that I see and they remind me, why did I buy them? I bought them on when was that? On International Women's Day. So
Yes.
when I see them, I'm like, I'm a woman, I'm a queen. So I project meaning on those, right?
Mhm.
So I think that we forget the power of those little things that we can do that have an intention and have meaning, and also in the negative way. So if I rent a newspaper and there's always like war here and that there and that, and it comes to my house and I always pick it up and I always read it and I put it on the eating table and then I
Mhm.
start talking about it, and we don't protect that to be like, how can I protect myself from disinformation coming to my safe space? And
Yes.
when I look for the news, I do that willingly and saying, now I want to know what's going on in the world. So I'm going to take a look now because I want to,
Mhm.
which is very different than what my parents do and used to do. Is like you get a newspaper, you put it on the eating table, then you see it when you're on the couch, and you start to suddenly, which is no surprise for no one. I mean, just think a little that suddenly the conversation is everywhere in the room. And
Mhm.
is it a peaceful conversation? Surely not.
Mhm.
It's a hyper um hyper like fear-based nervous system reaction of, oh my God, what's gonna happen tomorrow and whatever. So I think that we're not protecting that enough. Sorry, this was a really long speech, but yeah, what do you
Yes,
think?
and I appreciate your passion and every one of your words resonates on many levels. I again those touchstones you're talking about, I just lock into those. I'll hold up this little cup here. This
Yeah.
is a little tiny cup, and I collected this on our when we went to the Caribbean, and I keep it right in front of me because when I look at it, I think of those soul filling moments of swimming and being together with
Yeah.
my beloved, and and so those are I think so important to click into that gratitude or that place in your life where you're feeling um connected and that your soul is being fed and also the the parameters and deciding what does come in and come out of your life
Yeah.
truly can make a difference of I just think 1,000 moments. I call my Substack Savor Life Studio because one of my, very, very, heartfelt ways of being in the world is to savor because,
Mhm.
it's all we get are these moments. And I recently read that, 90% of our thoughts are mostly repetition. We're going over the same things over and over in
Yeah.
the day and that we have so many thoughts within just 1 minute of our day. And I think the more we can keep infusing those things you're talking about, those treasured sacred reminders that say, "Hey, I already have everything I need within," and honoring that over and over again. And I think not only does that just it helps people and helps myself breathe into peace, but it also emanates peace, and then that is what's flowing out. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you say that. And like, because I really care about that my actions, my thinking, um, echoes peace into the world. Because
mhm,
I do believe every single one of us contributes to either peace and love or something else
mhm,
with what they think, what they do. I strongly believe in that. I strongly believe that everything is connected. I cannot do an action act, have a fight with my husband or my wife or my children, and then think this is isolated from the world. It's
mhm,
not. It has an echo, and I'm not saying we're not perfect, but that's why repair, apologizing, all these things are so important because they echo something back into the world. Then this child goes to the kindergarten or to school, they talk to their teacher, they have a certain either peaceful energy
yes,
around them or not. And they bring destruction and sabotage into that space. And then the teacher goes home to their wife and then they
yeah,
have a fight. And it's all connected. And if we can see that as a responsibility we have, and when I say responsibility, I think that's so important and ownership because it helps me to be so much more thoughtful all the time
mhm,
about how am I reacting? What am I creating? Because I have that responsibility. So it helps me to walk deeper into life and understand I cannot just write an email and think it has no effect on the world. It does. So I even go back and correct myself. And I did that last week. I wrote to a client. I did write a nice email, but it wasn't the creation that I wanted. So I went back and I apologized and I said, listen, I wanted to take more time with this email. And I just sat with it again and created it the way I truly wanted it, coming from a true place of love because it was already nice, but it was
yeah.
not what I wanted, was
Oh,
not
that's
the love
beautiful.
that I poured in. And I did that now twice, and I never did that before to go and correct myself just because of me, because it matters to me what I
Yes,
send out and who I'm being and what I echo into the world. And both thanked me for showing up this way, and it made a
yes,
difference to them. And
yes,
Liz, what I was thinking now is that I also wrote, why does it matter peace? So I want to talk about, I've been living my life and there were periods in my life where I haven't been so thoughtful about peace.
mhm,
And I was more like someone jumping on islands of peace from time to time
okay,
and like sometimes, traveling, being like, "Oh, now I'm at the beach and that's nice." And then I go back to my rock and roll life where everything is chaotic and whatever. And when I think now about that every action that we do and every relationship we have is a potential for peace and
Mhm,
love, or is a potential for something else. And when I say something else, then that can really go into an energetic experience that is very, very hurtful. So the reason why I want to create peace is because for me, being anything else than the world in the world than that wouldn't resonate with me. I just couldn't embody that.
yes.
And I've been there, I've done that. I've been, I think, more dysregulated where I've been addicted here and there to drama. I've been, pushing those buttons without even knowing it. I had a lot of blind spot. I was very dysregulated, um, due to my own upbringing.
Mhm,
And that's something I'm not going to repeat again. And because it's been so hurtful, it's been so painful. And if some of you listening right now are still in those kind of situations where or in that kind of life and embody that kind of life where you say, yeah, actually it's really hurtful. Actually suffering and um I'm realizing that I'm very it's not that it's your fault. You're very dysregulated. That's why it's all coming to place. And but it's important before something worse happens
mhm,
because it's your life and you only have this one life and you all right now, just because you're here in Substack, you're free. That means you have the freedom to come here and listen. And that freedom, you don't want to gamble with that freedom. That freedom is the biggest gift you will ever have. So that's, I think, why for me peace matters is because I understand that freedom is given to me. It's a gift, can
mhm,
also be taken from me.
mhm. Absolutely. And you're one of the things you're making me think about is I'm wondering, have you ever read Change Your Thoughts, Change Your I think it's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I read it, honestly, but I heard of
Okay.
it.
Yes, basically, when I was working through a very stressful time in my life, as my mom was making her way toward the end of her journey, I would travel back and forth to a neighboring town about an hour away, and so I would listen to inspiring videos or words that would really sort of take me out of the sadness that goes along with knowing that someone you love is slowly dying. And,
Mm,
and that particular book, Wayne Dyer basically goes through and interprets the Tao and what each chapter means and how it resonates within his life. And it's extremely powerful if for those that are listening, if you have not read it. And he comes from a place of, it doesn't really matter if you what your faith or your spirituality where it lies. It can really speak to everybody. And but it over and over again talks about how we do have the ability to change our thoughts, and when
oh,
we
yeah.
do that, it truly does change our lives one way or another. And there were so many things within that text that resonated, and in fact, my husband and I listen to that in the mornings oftentimes, and
Mhm.
and so, we're actually rereading the book, and, so it
I love
just
that.
being in a space where we, tap into the power of our intentions every day and
Yeah,
eh,
yeah.
how deep that really flows, and that, I know young people in my life, and when I say young, I'm saying your age and, between 20 and 20 and 40 now. I'm soon to, approaching another decade birthday, yikes. Um, but I but I I guess what my heart goes out to so many young people because I
Yeah,
see the struggle, I feel the struggle. And, the fact that you have done all of this soul work and you have such a depth of understanding that, "Oh, I don't have to consume the news. I can simply walk over and turn off the television or set up guidelines that work within your home
yeah,
so that, it's not just constantly coming in because it's it is a different world. Your world is so different from what my experience was at 33 years old.
mm,
And so it's, there are those changes, whether we just even the technology that we have access
yeah,
to today
yeah,
and how
that's
that wasn't a
absolutely
thing.
wow.
And
Yeah,
so I remember teaching, and when they brought in my first computer, my first, Apple computer, I was like, "Whoa, how do we use that?" You know, and
yeah,
and now we just can't hardly imagine life without it. And so, just that understanding of every day we have infinite choices and that guide our daily rhythms and that we can
yeah,
change them at any moment. If you're stuck in something terrible, horrible, um, you have the ability and the wherewithal to remove yourself and to
yeah, and
change.
practice I'm at practice removing myself, and I'm using, for example, the metro to practice that. So, when I'm in the metro and there's anything that's slightly bothering me, can be a smell or a sound. I've been practicing this now for 1 year. I'm
Okay.
looking for a new place. Not necessarily because I think, "Oh, I can't sit here, I can't bear it," or whatsoever, but I wanna practice leaving when it's not perfect. Simply
Yes.
because of that, because I deserve that, and every time I walked away and I sat somewhere else, I found, "Oh, it's perfect now."
Oh,
So I
lovely.
also realized every time I give myself that choice and that chance. So I would say before you want to practice a big thing, like, walking away from a toxic relationship, walking away from a job that doesn't serve you, practice walking away in small ways
Mhm.
while you're on the way home. Um, when you're in a little small talk after work with someone where you feel like, I don't want this, then, oh, sorry, I'm gonna, it's time to go home. Like, practice those little things first because you're still giving your body a signal and your feet, we're leaving.
Yes.
So it will be easier for you at some point in the big moments to say, I'm leaving, I'm going. And to give that execution to your brain
Yeah.
that's we're executing this now. And then that goes down to your feet, and your feet are really doing that because I was struggling with that in the beginning because
Mhm.
of childhood and trauma, and somehow it wasn't safe for me to leave
Mhm.
when I was younger, so it didn't came naturally. So if you're still finding yourself in a situation that's not peaceful generally in your life, practice in small ways to walk away. Practice the connection between your brain and your feet. It will help you a lot in the bigger moments of your life to understand this doesn't serve me, and then that can have a direct effect to your heart and to your body. And I think that can be really, really like practical and helpful, for everyone. And yeah, I think peace, it's the most beautiful topic that we could have chosen for today, I feel.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
to indulge in, it's for everyone to bring you more depth, to bring you more love, to bring you more relationships you love, to bring you more self-love, you can be inspired by peace from nature,
Mhm.
how nature practices peace, how that looks like, how everyone is coexisting together, all different animals, how the different seasons come together. And yeah, just because you mentioned like the technologies and the phone, and I find myself when I slow down and the less I'm engaging with those technologies, the more I'm coming home to peace. So
Yes.
I focus on everything that has a heartbeat and I focus on nature. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's serving me to orient myself on peace. And don't be afraid to set any boundaries and to protect your peace and to
Mhm.
become a warrior of protector warrior of that. Because I also pray for to be protected and guided, you know? I say actually every day, at least once, that I am protected by the universe. And please protect me, God, from anything that shouldn't cross my path because I don't even want to be in that environments. So I'm already really asking for protection and asking for guidance not to meet anything that would, you know, irritate, seduce me in any way that I don't want because I'm practicing peace. And I think when that is there, and listen, this is maybe how it can end. When peace
Mhm.
is there, then creation is possible. So then you are full of energy, you can be creative, your mind is free to think, explore, wonder, create, write. Um, so practicing peace allows me also to be very creative, to be so connected to my creator, and same time, like to be so, in this constant energy of like, yeah, like this is life. What are we gonna do? In the small and the big ways, may it even be cooking something that I haven't ever cooked before. And being like that because there's so much peace around me, there's silence, there's peace. Maybe I put on some music, some nice flowers, I make some nice lights, and then I'm cooking and I'm like, this is heaven. Like, what
Yes.
more do you want? You know?
That's so
Great.
beautiful, and for me, it's so funny because cooking, is really something that, I don't enjoy that much, but in
Not
the same
yet.
but in
Not
the
yet.
same vein, if you put a guitar in my hand, I'm like, "Oh, yes, this is so great." So I would, whereas my husband, like, he does most of our cooking, and he does a brilliant job, and
It's
I'm
perfect.
so grateful. I mean, every meal, it's like, "Oh my gosh," to receive this lovely food, that he enjoyed preparing, and, I would not. And I always tell
That's
people,
perfect.
if I get invited to a party, it's like, uh, "Don't ask me to bring the food, I'll bring the music."
I mean, you
That's
just
where
have to
my
bring the selfless and everybody's
Yeah.
gonna be happy and joyous
Oh,
and
thank you
you're
for
gonna
that.
smile and your good energy and everything is gonna be like some people just really have to bring themselves and that's enough. And yeah, and I mean also you have the joy of having found someone, that's really like seems to be that person that you both together create this world and you have all these rituals together. Maybe we can close with this. Like, how do
Mhm,
you invite people? May it be your husband, where it might be easier because you already have a routine, you know how to be a team, but
mhm.
also others to practice peace with you in ways that maybe you direct them towards really saying, like, let's create peace, or maybe indirect ways that they don't even have to know that you're inviting a bit more peaceful spirit. Like, how do you do that? How do you invite others into your peaceful creation?
I think the biggest way I'm doing that in my life right now is honestly through my Substack, because I
Yeah.
can send out light and love. I can send out peace into the world, and right now I feel
Mhm.
like that is one of the things I can offer. And so and it brings me joy, and it feels like almost like I've landed where I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense. Like this is
Yeah.
um and and so I'm not that doesn't mean, that you never really know how it's resonating, although the connections I've made, yourself included, have been so beautiful, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Um, but I do feel like that's how I'm able to share myself in a way that feels deeply meaningful right now in my life. And in real time, I have a singing partner and we get together and share, and that's a beautiful connection. Uh, so I as far as going out and cultivating that, what I find is we are perpetually busy. People have so much going on in their lives, and so when there are moments where I can go walking with a friend or get away with a friend and do things one on one, I find that that really is soul filling.
Yeah,
I'm not a person who, I mean, if I have my choice, I'd much rather be visiting one on one than in a room with a lot of
yeah.
people, because it just feels so much more spiritual to me. So I suppose and how about for you? How do you find in your daily rhythms you're able to do that?
So in my coaching, of course, it's like a
Yeah,
deep connection and deep purpose work and always also focused on peace.
yeah,
Like if I see my clients, let's say like navigating something challenging or seeing a bit redirecting towards an energy of anger, frustration, sabotage, I guide them back to peace. I guide them back to their heart. And
mm,
that really feels beautiful. So that's what I do every day. And then when I go out, eye contact and smiles with the people on the grocery store, um, giving someone the first be in front of the row to pay because they have less than me. Paying
yeah,
for I paid for an older woman that she forgot her card. I paid for her the groceries.
lovely.
Um, like playing with dogs when I see them or cats on the street, and or joking a bit with children when I see them in the metro and we're sitting. Um, I also started to this is really new, but we're still having this film out there about postpartum depression, so I started to ask some strangers. I was like, "Do you wanna vote for the film because we can win a prize?" And that was also a way for me to connect and create connection and a peaceful message of let's spread awareness for postpartum depression. Um, and honoring nature, like I often like when I walk for myself and I don't see people necessarily to walk in a rhythm with my feet, like thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So
Oh,
to
that's
say
nice.
that, yeah, to say that and to radiate that out in the world and to find little things that I love and speak them out. Like I love the raindrops on this leaf. I love that they took away the snow for us so we can walk better. Finding things that I love and saying that out loud and sending that love to the people who maybe did that or created that for us, people who walk on the street. And yeah. So there's so many ways, and you can put some things in the chat if anyone wants to. But I think this is a beautiful ending for our conversation today. And thank you so much, Liz, for joining. And it's been a blessing. It's been so joyful and peaceful to be here with you. Yeah.
For me too, Lisa. Such a joy, and I realize it's getting late where you are, and
Yeah.
for me, I've still got a day ahead, and
You have
uh,
the daylight. I have the night.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're supposed to receive a big windstorm tonight, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, such a peaceful, joyous way to begin the day. It's always so lovely to be in your light and within your presence, and um, I'm so glad that
We're
you're able to
sending
just
definitely out. I'm sending so much peace to you, to your day, to
thank
everyone
you.
you're going to meet today, to everyone you're interacting with today, to your own soul, to your body, to the nature, that it's going to be peaceful for the nature. I'm sending that to you. And I'm sending peace to every single one listening right now and later. I'm sending you peace for your families, for your life, for your jobs. Always know, I love Louis Hay says that, all is well in my world.
Yes. So beautiful. And I'm so glad to know that, Lisa, and may your movie
Yes,
win.
yes, we will do it, definitely. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much,
Bye.
Lisa. My heart is full.